we've changed all programming to honor a wonderful friend of mine and of Livewire's, Bon Scott, lead singer of AC/DC. When Livewire first began in September of '77, we were doing 3 to 4 minute interviews backstage in the areas where we'd set up telephones. One of those locations was the new Old Waldorf. From the first minute that I met the members of the group AC/DC, I knew that I had met the essence of rock and roll. I interviewed Bon and Angus at the Old Waldorf in September of '77. Unfortunately, a copy is not available of that interview, but I did interview Bon and Malcolm on July the 23rd of 1978 at a day on the green, number 3. Likewise, July the 21st, 1979, I interviewed Bon and Angus backstage at a day on the green, number 3. In 1979, after that last day on the green, Bon and Angus surprised everybody by showing up in San Jose that next morning, to the delight of everybody at KSJO and all of their fans, to join the KSJO Traveling Rock and Roll Circus for a day of drinking and music and merriment. Bon lived his life to the fullest every day. He lived the way each of us imagined that it would be for him, fast and hard. AC/DC is not, however, one person. I'm sure that the group will carry on rock and roll because rock and roll is their life. Angus Young and Bon Scott here for a monstrous day on the green. You guys, how does it feel to be monsters in rock and roll? I mean, you are monsters.
Devilish. Yeah, nah, it's fun, you know. We keep it fun, you know. Don't let it get to our heads. Because we've always been, you know, I mean, we were all brought up in, you know, basically the same sort of situations as any kid out there today buying a ticket to see a rock band, you know. You grow up in the street and you learn things, you know. And one of them I always learned was you never thought you were better than the next guy, you know. So that's how we like to approach it, you know. So when you get out there, you know, you really like to give them a good time.
You do a lot of these big shows because they become events, they become a real big piece of rock and roll history. It's another era we're into right now. But I think you and I were talking a moment ago, and while you were not yet here, Bon, that it may just be going back to the clubs where you guys started from.
Back to the clubs, so I don't feel that we want to go back to clubs just yet. Yeah, I'm not saying that we wouldn't do it. We're just getting to the stage where we're making money, we're doing a lot of big shows, and it's really exciting getting out like to the crowds. But why go back to the clubs? You know, I mean, if you can turn 20,000 people on, or like today, 80,000 people, you know, clubs have got 1,000. You know, it takes 80 times that amount of shows to sort of turn that amount of people on. So give us some big shows, like, you know.
Todd Rundgren did 5 days at the Old Waldorf where you played the first time.
Well, I like me, myself personally, Bond, he likes the big things, but he's getting old. He's getting old. He's got his coffin ordered. But I like clubs, mainly for, you know, as I said before, you know, I mean, it's great playing big shows, you know, no doubt about it. But when you get, there's something about a club when you walk in, you know, even before you go on, some of these places we played, you know, you can sense the excitement from the word go. It's like something completely different, you know, because you are given blood, because everyone, when you're playing a guitar solo, it's like every kid in the place are going, yeah, 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 you know, and when you're rolling around the floor, they're going, yeah, kill, you know, blood, you know, so that's what it's all about, you know.
Phoenix, Arizona the other day, about 3 weeks ago, you know, and that was what, 2,000, if that. Like, and it's all so close to you, it's all right on top of you, and you don't have to walk out through the crowd to be in the crowd. You're just there anyway on the stage, and it, like Angus says, it is really exciting. But that's one form of like getting off, and the other form is like today. 75,000 kids out there, and that is a buzz.
As long as as he says, you know, as long as it's up and down, says you never lose contact with reality. You know? as long as you can keep it going back and forth, I think it's probably the best thing. Rather like, I mean, I suppose a lot of bands must get into the bad habit where they're just playing big things all the time. You know, it's good to have that variety. You know, and lately we've had a lot of
lose that contact with the crowd. Yeah, that's number one. Like, yeah.
I got a kid send me a letter from here once, and he said, now that you're playing the Days in the Greens, and I suppose you won't be going into the crowd and all that. This was the first time we'd ever done the Day of the Green, you know. And I got this letter sent to me, and I thought, well, I was going to mail it back and say, well, there you go, I was there, you know. You can't say I didn't do it, you know.
There were all kinds of rumors that you were going to be at the California World Music Festival. Got a lot of people excited. And then I think you decided with...
Basically, what happened there, we were in the middle of that album, you know, and we were in London at the time doing it. And we were going to try and get across to do this show. But at the last moment, it seemed like inevitable. We didn't want to, because the album was going well, and we didn't want to sort of chop the album in half and sort of go, all right, get over there and then come back, because then you got to re-pick up.
And lose what we had while we were doing the album. That was, yeah.
And now you've got a new producer this time around. Yeah. He's a heavyweight.
Yeah, well, he's produced bands like the Outlaws, yeah, Thin Lizzy, different... Thin, well, I'm pretty thin too. But different bands, produce all of that. But I think we're probably the first really hard thing he's ever done. He's done other bands before, but we're probably the first really hard rock band. And I think to him it was a challenge, and to us it was a challenge, because the only producers we'd ever worked for before was like my brother, and it's different. You know, we're working with an outsider, so it was really good. It really becoming, and the album, when you hear the album, you really see the big difference. There was it's hard to say. It seems like since the last studio album we done was like Power Age, and then we had the live album out, it's sort of been a good nearly a year and a half, a year and a few months since we've had a studio album out. And between that time, you can really tell the difference. You know, it's like we've really got in there and put it all down, you know.
You did Highway to Hell today, the lead song. It's a killer.
That was like a taste of the album. Yeah, tickle. Yeah, yeah. Like we know the other songs as well. There's like 5 songs that we can do on stage that are really hot. We did them on a TV show in Holland, and they, like, for the first time ever, and they sounded really, really good. You know, it felt really good to play them as well. Today, like, we got to play the old song, cause but we threw in Highway to Hell just as that sort of what to say. Well, the new album's coming out. Here's a song, the song, I guess, off the whole album.
What was the easiest song to cut? Do you remember?
To cut, well, basically on the album, the easiest song was probably. I would say Get It Hot, you know, because it's a flowy, bouncy song. You know, it's reminiscent of the old, how do you say, the old sort of, old style rock, you know, the old Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels type thing, you know. But it's a very good feel on it, you know. It just bounces along. It's a breezy song, but it's great if you're sitting in a car, you know. You just hear this Get It Hot, get it hot. You know.